Hey, what's up, guys? So, I'm super excited to explain the progress that I made tonight. So, it's been a long time coming. I've been building this engine for God knows how long. I got this short block from a buddy while I was still in the Marines. He bought a '05 Impreza like base model that had an AVO turbo kit on it, and it came with brand new STI case halves. Fast forward a bunch. I got a job with a dealership that has the ability to buy OEM like Subaru parts. So I got a Ford nitride crank. I ended up going King bearings. There's points to where I went aftermarket stuff. So I got King bearings for the rods and the mains. I got element tuning rods. I got Wiseco pistons. I went with, and then, fast forward even more. I've got a lightweight flywheel. I've got actually, it is God, I can't remember the name of the clutch. Oh, God. It's a unit clutch. So I got a unit clutch. This is the base model one. It's good for 650 foot-pounds. It's a twin plate. It doesn't use the surface of the flywheel at all, which is super, super gangster. And the pedal feel, honestly, it feels lighter than the clutch that I had in there. And the clutch and the whole setup that I had was this. So this is actually out of this is all like factory extra stuff. So here's my super old busted, you know, anyway, you know the name of it. I know the name of it. Don't know it right now. And then I've got my old flywheel right here. It's definitely seen better days. I got some nice spare parts I'll probably use again. I'll probably see if I can send this off to a buddy, get that ported up, all nice. Just the bypass, nothing super crazy. I've got that. If I go and pick up an older model and I want to do another NAT, I would love to pick up a front-wheel drive 22E NA car to do a conversion on. It's super high up on my goals, but I need to sell my truck because I just absolutely hate that thing. Here is here is the block. This is the original NAT block. I ran this thing. It was stock head bolts, stock composite head gaskets. All the surfaces look good. Cylinders still have remnants of hatching at the very least. Crank is still looking super, super good. I wish there was a way for me to know externally if they had swapped that out for a nitrided crank. Here we go. This is where it gets really weird. My case halves are actually mismatched here. So I've got a 301 and a 302 casting, which is interesting. I can check with some buddies to verify all that, but it doesn't matter. In the most part, I took the heads off of this. I have those downstairs. I'm actually going to send those off to a buddy, Brandon Knight. We've been talking a bunch. He's going to do some crazy stuff with them. I should be able to make an extra at least 10% for every pound of boost that I'm pushing out. So these heads on this setup are actually completely stock, minus I've got I made these myself. They're AVLS deletes, so they lock the high cam. So just super quick lesson. AVLS. It's not like VTEC. It doesn't have a regular cam and then goes into a race cam. You've got your two intake lobes. Yeah. Just like that. Minus some pinky. And then you have this one. And it's going all the time. So regardless of RPM, you have one intake valve. And it's always going to do its thing. Okay? This intake valve is a little bit sleepy. Okay? So once you get above 3,000, it's actually going to be bigger. It's going to have more lift. It's going to have more duration on that specific one. And all of that goes into the fact that in 2008, Subaru was able to earn the PRESIV badge, the partial zero emissions vehicle badge, PZEV. Um, and so they got those heads in this. That wasn't a thing in 2006. It wasn't a thing in 2007. They earned it in 2008. They didn't really have to do anything different. Maybe technically the intake manifold was different, but I don't believe it was. I don't think they went to a plastic manifold at that point that changed any air characteristics. But my setup includes like super important parts. On the passenger side head here, I've got a oil drain for the turbo. This one in particular, it's a 6266 Gen 2 ball bearing, custom Mad Dad up pipe, rotated setup. You're not going to see that anywhere else. Let's see if we can see that joint. So I've got a black AN fitting right here. This is the top of the fitting. It's double welded inside and out with a -10, which means that the inside diameter of that pipe is 5/8. So ANs go, in 16ths of an inch. So, a 16/16 would be, a dash 16. And, a -10 is 5/8 because 10/16 is 5/8. So that's where that comes from. Then over here, I've got my, this is a Pro Sport M16 by 1.5. I believe it's 1.5. I'm like 95% sure that it's M16 or M18 by 1.5. And then I've got a nice stainless steel Earls dash or 1/8 MPT to -4. I think it's really important to have a nice stainless steel fitting here. So we've got aluminum going into brass, and then we've got stainless going into brass. And so that's going to negate a lot of corrosion and galling that you're going to get between these. I had to transfer this from the old engine, so that whole fitting setup came from this engine. I took it out right here. You can see, boom. Took that whole setup, transferred it into here. I'm going to end up running a brand new -4 AN oil feed line all the way up to the turbo here. I don't need a restrictor for this one. It's since it's a ball bearing, it has a restrictor built in, and there's a whole complicated little setup on that. So that is internals and some of the externals. So exhaust manifold is a Mad Dad on equal length setup. Mad Dad leased the same rights as Tomei. Technically, and they made less, so technically it's more rare than a Tomei. Let's see if we can reach underneath there. And where's my badge? Well, shit. I can't find it. You're just gonna have to take my word for it. It's on there somewhere. God damn it. And then the up pipe here is they run a 3-bolt, so it's a 3-bolt going up, and then I extended it. This probably like 4 inches, and then I have a 45-degree offcut going to a V-band flange. I get all of my my stainless steel and supplies from Ace Race Parts. Super good. Their prices are super fair. But if you're gonna order from there, hit up some buddies and be like, hey, I'm gonna submit an order over to Ace Race Parts. What else do you want? I can throw it on my order. You can pay the price of the parts. You don't have to pay, shipping or anything. And then it'll normally, give you some little extras and whatnot. As far as my fabricator goes, I try to treat him the best I absolutely can. I don't give him any gross shit to weld. I don't give him shit. I don't give him crap. I don't give him anything that I wouldn't want to weld myself. So when it came to this up pipe, since it was second hand, I scrubbed it. I scrubbed it for probably like an hour. This is brand new pipe. This is brand new pipe. That's a brand new V-band. This turbo hasn't ever been ran on an engine. I actually got it from I'm going to call him a friend. I got it from a friend. He was building a 4G63 swapped Forester. He ended up having a kid. His priority changed quite a bit. And so he went and he parted out a bunch of stuff. I bought some other random bits for him, and then I hit him up and I was like, hey, do you actually still happen to have that 6266? And he did. And so here I am now, and I've got my single cam with a 6266 Gen 2 ball bearing turbo. But going on the rest of the stuff, Ace Race Parts. Again, their V-band setups are actually like super cheap, and these are technically the quick connects, so I can loosen them up a little bit and then kind of snap them off and on, and so it puts a lot less stress on the joint to where you're tightening and everything. And then this is actually I believe all 190, and I just did the quickest, tiniest little sketch on a cardboard box when I dropped this stuff off to my fabricator, and he was able to get it like that. So he didn't have the car. The turbo this up pipe had never been attached to the manifold in the car. The engine had never been in the car. This manifold had never been in the car. So he did amazing work. Anything else I need to do, I'll figure it out myself. That's fine. I still need to get the wastegate situated on this. I need to get some wide bands situated. I think I'm gonna have to steal just one of the ports on the more original Mad Dad setup, which will be fine. And then I have this, and then I have my 6266 Gen 2. This Mac valve, all nicely situated right here, actually goes to my, I've got a GeForce, a GFB GeForce 2, which does a lot of cool stuff. It lets you do closed loop boost control, so it stops overboost, all that. It's the best controller for an NAT setup that you could probably buy. Unfortunately, I think for this, the next rendition on super low boost, I'll be running without my MAF sensor, which I know it seems kind of sketch, but the ECU has some weird tables in it that it doesn't let you see, that I've got calibrated to where it has the correct fueling, and then I've got my wideband in there to double check everything. I need to get the intake manifold on. I need to get my harness all situated, and then I actually have a Link. I have a Link Fury X that I have wired up to a jumper harness that I'll be able to situate and do all the super fun stuff. This car's only got 71,000 miles on it, which is pretty fun. I picked it up at, I think, 48. So there's going to be a lot of stuff that I just don't end up using. But, it should be a pretty fun ride. I'm hoping by the end of summer, I'm going to have a 10-second car. And I'm hoping by the end of next summer, that I've got like a really deep into the nines second car, still keeping the single cams. Dual override cams, kind of overrated. I've got a 2.5 liter. It's a single cam. I've got gigantic bores. I can put bigger valves in there. I can do more duration, everything like that. I've actually been theory crafting a bunch of stuff as far as taking a Ford 9-inch. So Ford 9-inches come in a lot of different ratios. They come like all the way, like you can get aftermarket wise, you can get up to like the 6s, which is it's crazy to me. But they've got two ratios that are super, super important to me. So factory 5-speed trans, I can get it in a 411, 4.4. I don't know about the 4.4 and the 5 speeds, but they definitely come 3.9. And you can actually get a 9-speed or a 9-inch Ford rear end in a 389. Okay, so that's like 0.003 of a difference. But in the 6 speeds, the best 6-speed for drag racing comes in a 3.545. I'm gonna add that 10,000th in there. It comes in a 3.545 rear diff ratio, but you can get a 9-inch, and it's 32 gears on the ring and 9 on the pinion. If you do the math on that, then you have 3.555. So now you're at a hundredth or whatever off, but that ends up being pretty much nothing as far as wheel speed between the back and the front. And if I weld, I haven't played around with the STI center diffs, but if I weld the pinion basically for the rear differential to the housing of the whole entire center differential, I'm allowed to have a bunch of slip in the front, but it applies no slip to the rear. And then you have the rear differential, which will, apply slip front and rear. And honestly, it's easier to find a mini spool for a 9-inch than it is like absolutely anything else for a 9-inch. Like a mini spool for a 9-inch is $200. A posi track rear end for a 9-inch is like $500. And that's not even including the ratios. But I actually found a ratio for the rear end. That's a 3.555. Again, I'm gonna add that extra 10,000th in there. And it's like 55 or 65 bucks used. I'm gonna clean it up. And then I'm gonna see if over the winter if I can swap a 9-inch in here. So I'm gonna do a God, I'm telling you guys way too much really fucking good information. 54 inches from flange to flange, not flange to flange, but like from axle to axle, and then I'll be able to have kind of more of a proper distance. So the offset it'll pull it in a little bit, but it'll also be better for the chassis. And then with a 4-link, I can set it up to where it has a proper anti-squat. So if we take that point right here, kind of right above where the lugs are mounted, all the way down, with proper bar angles on the bottom here and really nice short ones on there that can kind of cut into this longer bottom line. So then I can get it to kind of converge up at that point where the center of gravity is probably really, really, really close. I can stop any type of squat on the launch. And if you've ever seen any import all-wheel drive drag racer, honestly, probably if you even look at the rear-wheel drive ones, you'll notice that they'll squat so much they almost tuck the entire tire. And so I'm not concerned in the slightest about wheel fitment. It's the angle for this car is completely gutted, 4-link, a nice cage in there, and I want to be able to run 8s. That is end goals. That's way, 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 way down the line. Like I said, I want 10s by the end of the summer. I want 9s, deep into the 9s by next year. And then, after that point, we'll play by ear. I mean, I could potentially be into the eights by the end of next year, which, would be super, super crazy. I'd be a big fan of that. But, having a family, it might be new house time.